what we're seeing is simply staggering. Right now, rescue crews are still trying to find people who are missing, including 27 girls from a summer camp overrun by floodwaters just a short distance from where we are right now. It's actually right behind me, Camp Mystic. It's been over 48 hours since floods began ravaging this community. The Guadalupe River, which we're right next to, you may be hearing it, overflowing with multiple months of rain in just a matter of hours, reaching upwards of nearly 24 feet. The devastation, what we're seeing on the ground, is just awful. The all-girls camp here in Kerr County, Camp Mystic, hit especially hard. The desperate search for these campers now continues this morning. Governor Greg Abbott says this is a 24/7 operation and that crews will not stop searching, Jeff, until everyone is found.
And so far, authorities say more than 850 people in Kerr County have been rescued and brought to safety. The Trump administration is sending resources to help. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is now in Texas, where she has pledged federal support for those affected. Boris, walk us through what you're seeing on the ground today as the sun is rising there in Texas.
Yeah, Jeff, just on the way in this morning, the damage is fairly widespread. For several miles as we were driving in, we could see homes and businesses that were scarred, as well as an immense amount of debris, overturned vehicles, trees blocking roadways. This is an expansive site of devastation as a result of these floods. And here at Camp Mystic, again, this is right on the Guadalupe River, the river going up something like 24 feet in a matter of a few hours. And you can see in the distance the debris field, the high water mark where the trees are more than a dozen feet off the ground. There is a ton of just detritus strewn about. There are vehicles as well as what appear to be clothing, perhaps belonging to the campers here. On top of that, you have some of the actual cabins behind me where we understand that some of the camp counselors broke through windows as the floodwaters were rising to get young kids out, kids as young as 9, 10 years old here. And again, Jeff, some 27 people are still missing just from Camp Mystic.
Boris, obviously the Guadalupe River there is a base of limestone, I'm told. So that is one of the reasons that the water moved so quickly and had no place to go. As authorities continue their effort today, is this still a rescue mission or has this shifted into more of a recovery mission?
We've gotten no indication from state officials that this has now moved to a recovery mission. You heard there Governor Greg Abbott saying that this was a 24/7 operation, that this was going to continue until they had accounted for everyone who had gone missing. At this stage, it's difficult to get an exact number of how many remain unaccounted for, because not only do you have a sprawling number of campsites like this one, but you also have RV parks where we've heard witnesses say that they saw entire families washed away, but also folks who were visiting the area from out of town, folks that were here to enjoy the 4th of July on the Guadalupe River. So getting an exact number is going to be difficult, but as of right now, our understanding is that this remains a search and rescue operation, Jeff.
And Boris, we are hearing stories about the girls at Camp Mystic there in Texas's Hill Country and the victims who are still missing. What are we learning about them today from their families?
Yeah, just heart-wrenching stories, Jeff. Again, these are young women. This is an all-girls camp, some as young as 9 to 10 years old. CNN has confirmed from the parents of 4 campers that their daughters were killed. Janie Hunt is one of them. She's just 9 years old. Sarah Marsh is another. Renee Samstra is another. We also actually spoke with the family of Leela Bonner, who's 9 years old. Her family, her parents tell us that they are devastated right now, that they are dealing with unimaginable grief, but they remain praying for others, not only here at Camp Mystic, but across Central Texas, who are hoping to be found alive. Obviously, many still missing, Jeff. I understand that we actually have Jason Pack with us to talk about some of these efforts. He's a former FEMA official and retired FBI special agent. He joins us now live. Jason, thank you so much for sharing part of your morning with us. You have a lot of experience in scenarios like this, emergency situations. Can you give us an idea of what it's like to have such a wide range of different factors that are impacting search and rescue On top of that, a forecast that is looking like a lot more rain is on the way.
Good morning, Boris. Yes, there's a lot of moving parts to this particular response. And the way responders do that to take you inside of an emergency operations center is something called the incident command system. And that's the way, whether you're a Fed, whether you're a local responder or a state person, that you can organize this chaos. So, as a part of the incident command system, what's called emergency support functions exist within these command centers. Today, the operational priorities are set overnight while people were sleeping and the rescues were ongoing. People who are planning today's activities and creating operational priorities probably are concentrating on what's called emergency support function 8, which is search and rescue. So those are one of the most important priorities right now, as you heard from Governor Abbott and as you're reporting earlier. Search and rescue remains paramount here in a 24/7 operation. To add to that, you want to coordinate the victim reunification, and on down the road in the priorities, you want to look at the infrastructure damage. But right now, it's all about the people who are missing and the effort and the urgent search to find them.
Yeah, can you give us a sense of what crews might be dealing with as they're out there? Because just watching on the way over here, watching what the river looked like, especially areas close to it, there's just stuff everywhere, all sorts of debris.
That's right, Boris. It's not just as simple as plugging an address into a GPS and then sending responders there. The flood has changed everything, the topography, the debris has blocked roads. So access is going to be important in figuring out to have that real-time ground intelligence about how to get there. Kinds of logistical challenges. So having the right resources in the right places is going to be paramount. We know that the Texas authorities are attacking this by ground. They're attacking this by air and by boat when necessary. So they have the resources in place. We've seen that direct federal assistance come in the form of the Coast Guard and come in the form of the Army Engineers and come in the form of Customs and Border Protection. Those federal assets are there on the ground supporting and supplementing the local responders who have just an unenviable task out there today.
Can you give us a sense, Jason, of what is actually being deployed? To your point about resources, it sounds like this is an all-hands-on-deck approach, and what those resources look like in the sense that there has to be coordination between federal and local officials.
That's right. Not only are the search and rescue equipment coming in, teams coming in to relieve them. These folks have been going looking for their neighbors for almost 72 hours now, a little bit less than that. So they're going to tire out. And so the reinforcements are coming back in from neighboring states, from federal assets. Those are the search and rescue ones. You have sheltering operations going on too. So the voluntary organizations active in disasters, we call those, they're coming in to help set up shelters. Normally you'd have services in church. The faith is being put into action today. Several churches are open to shelters there. So that's going to be an important part of the response and recovery effort. And then you also have logistics. How do you get fuel to these helicopters? How do you get food to the hungry and water? All those sorts of logistical questions are being answered by the Texas Department of Emergency Management in coordination with FEMA, who does have an office there in Denton, Texas.
Jason Pack, so great to get your expertise on this. Thank you so much for joining us. Jeff, I'll send it back to you in the nation's
Good
capital.
luck up there.
Boris, thank you. Now let's get straight to CNN meteorologist Tyler Malden. Tyler, walk us through where the flooding threat stands right now. What is the forecast at this hour?
Yeah, so as of right now, Jeff, we do have a flood watch in effect for this area until later this afternoon. No active warnings for the Kerrville area and the Guadalupe River specifically. We do have an active flash flood warning, though, for the city of Mason, so please take precautions there. We have radar showing rainfall in the area as well, light to moderate rainfall at the moment, but anything that we see is just going to exacerbate any issues that first responders are dealing with at the moment. This rain is going to taper off, comes right back later this afternoon, Jeff, during the heating of the day when temperatures reach the low to mid 90s, and then we hit repeat on Monday. It's not until Tuesday, Jeff, that we begin seeing the rainfall taper off and some drier air come in. Over the next 24 to 48 hours, roughly 2 to 4 inches, so nothing like what we saw on Friday. It's also important to note, Jeff, that We're no longer at flood stage with the Guadalupe River. We're below that. So this will just impact the first responders and their activities right now.
So Tyler, we have seen those incredible time-lapse videos of the flash floods. How could this happen so quickly?
Yeah, there are a few things at play here. Number one, you have a system that was just stalled out over central Texas. It wasn't going anywhere. It was tapping on some deep tropical moisture and causing some heavy downpours to fall over the same areas for multiple hours. That's number one. Number two, we have an exceptional drought here in central Texas. So the soil is like concrete. It's not very porous. It doesn't want to absorb that rainfall. So when that rain did fall, it just sat on top of the ground because it was essentially like concrete. And we're looking at roughly approximately a foot of rainfall that fell in a matter of hours in central Texas. Some areas seeing more than that. So you take that combination and that just spells a flash flood emergency to the likes that we saw on Friday. To make matters worse, it happened during the overnight hours.